Remember when that 9-square grid filled the screen and the theme song made every kid feel like a Brady? This iconic family was built on accidents, studio fights, and secrets. Today, we're counting down 15 weird facts you never knew about the Brady Bunch. Number 15. The Brady Bunch title feels like it was always inevitable, warm, simple, and unmistakably wholesome. So it might surprise you to learn that ABC executives genuinely tried to kill it before the show ever aired. When creator Sherwood Schwartz pushed for the Brady Bunch, network executives worried audiences would confuse it with Sam Peckinpah's ultra-violent 1969 Western The Wild Bunch. Schwartz documented the conversation in his 2010 book, Brady, Brady, Brady. The studio's specific concern was that viewers would expect a Western or a mob show. The title had already cycled through 2 earlier versions. During the 1966 to 1968 development period, the show was called Yours and Mine. When ABC ordered the first 13 episodes, it became The Brady Brood. Neither title stuck. Schwartz believed in the Brady Bunch and held firm against every executive objection that came his way. Think about what that means. The most recognized television title of its era, a phrase that became cultural shorthand for the American family ideal, nearly didn't make it past a meeting room because of a coincidental similarity to a Peckinpah bloodbath. One creator, one word, and a fight nobody knew was happening. Every time that opening grid fills your screen, you are watching a title that survived only because one person refused to give it up. And the title was not the only thing that almost didn't exist. The show itself spent 3 full years shelved before an unlikely film finally unlocked it. Number 14. The Brady family's blended dynamic feels like it was always natural, the kind of family structure television was born to tell stories about. In reality, the entire concept sat in a drawer for 3 years before anyone would let it happen. In 1965, creator Sherwood Schwartz read a single line in the Los Angeles Times reporting that 31% of all American marriages involved at least one partner with children from a previous relationship. That statistic became the entire premise. He developed a pilot immediately and pitched all 3 networks. ABC, CBS, and NBC all expressed interest, but each one asked for changes Schwartz would not make, so he shelved it. What finally broke the logjam was not a better pitch, it was a movie. The 1968 Lucille Ball and Henry Fonda film Yours, Mine, and Ours proved to studios that audiences would watch a blended family on screen. Schwartz used the film's commercial success as direct leverage to get the pilot ordered. There is one more layer. When the producer of that film later threatened to sue Schwartz over the similarities between the 2 projects, Schwartz pointed out that his pilot had been titled Yours and Mine before the movie existed. His response, according to his own account, "Just be happy I didn't sue you." Every Brady family scene traces back to a newspaper statistic one writer noticed when nobody else did. Once the show was finally greenlit, though, Schwartz faced a problem nobody had prepared for. Number 13. The 6 Brady kids feel like they were always obviously right for their roles, like there was never any other combination. That feeling is not an accident. But the casting process that created it was one of the stranger experiments in television history. Because Sherwood Schwartz had not yet cast Mike or Carol Brady when the children's auditions began, he decided to cast 2 complete sets of 6 kids. One set to match a potential dark-haired father, and one set to match a potential blonde father. He interviewed 264 children total, and to weed out anyone who was not genuinely focused, he placed toys on his desk during every audition. Any child who reached for one instead of answering questions was immediately eliminated. One child made both shortlists, Mike Lookinland, who would eventually play Bobby Brady. Producers wanted him so badly they dyed his naturally blonde hair brown to match whichever father was eventually hired. The shade was chosen before Mike or Carol Brady had been cast. Schwartz later reflected on the process, noting that there were 3 blonde boys and 3 dark-haired girls who were could-have-beens. Children who passed the auditions and were never seen on screen. Watch Bobby Brady in any episode and remember that the brown hair is a production decision made before the show had a father. And the man who became that father, he was nobody's first choice, not even close. Number 12. Robert Reed as Mike Brady feels definitive. The calm, measured, patient architect at the center of the Brady family. It is difficult to imagine anyone else in that role, which makes it genuinely surprising that Robert Reed was not supposed to be there at all. Sherwood Schwartz's original first choice for Mike Brady was Gene Hackman, 2 years before Hackman won the Academy Award for The French Connection. Paramount, and ABC rejected him outright. The reason was his TVQ score, the industry's standard viewer recognition metric at the time. Schwartz later reflected, "Unknown Gene Hackman with no TVQ has been a major star ever since." The role was first formally offered to Bob Holliday, who had played Superman in the 1966 Broadway musical It's a Bird, It's a Plane, It's Superman. According to Holliday, Schwartz called him practically in tears when executives overrode the casting decision. Jeffrey Hunter also lobbied for the part and was rejected because, in Schwartz's view, Hunter was too handsome to be a believable architect. Reed got the role primarily because he was already under contract to Paramount from his work on The Defenders. The most available actor, not the most wanted one. Mike Brady exists because a studio contract outweighed a creator's vision. The house where Mike Brady lived was hiding a secret just as significant. And you have been looking at it for decades without knowing it was there. Number 11. Every bedroom fight, every shared bathroom crisis, every moment of Marcia, Jan, and Cindy in their room feels completely real, lived in, architecturally plausible. Here's the thing. The upstairs does not exist. The exterior of the Brady house at 11,222 Dilling Street in Studio City was a single-story, split-level ranch built in 1959 by architect Harry M. Londelius. It has no second floor. To create the illusion of one, producers bolted a decorative false A-frame window onto the front of the building. Every interior scene, including the floating staircase that appears to lead somewhere, was filmed on Paramount Stage 5. When HGTV purchased the house in August 2018 for $3.5 million, outbidding Lance Bass, the renovation team discovered the problem immediately. To make the famous interiors match the exterior for the first time in the building's history, they had to construct a second story that had never physically existed. The 2019 series, A Very Brady Renovation, drew over 28 million viewers. HGTV resold the property in September 2023 for just under $3.2 million, absorbing a roughly $2 million loss. The Los Angeles City Council designated the house a historic cultural monument in March 2026. Think about that staircase. Every time a Brady kid ran upstairs, they were running into a space that only existed on a soundstage at Paramount Studios. And the backyard had its own secret, one the production kept covered for 5 full seasons. Number 10. Tiger's wooden doghouse sitting in the Brady backyard looks like a natural piece of domestic detail. A family with a dog. Of course, there is a doghouse. It fits perfectly. It was not a design choice. It was damage control. The Brady backyard was not real grass. It was AstroTurf, installed because real sod could not survive the heat of the soundstage lighting rigs. At some point during production, a studio light rig fell and burned a hole straight through the plastic lawn. Rather than replace the turf, which would have been expensive and time-consuming, the crew dragged Tiger's doghouse over the burn mark and left it sitting there. The doghouse stayed in that exact spot for the entire 5-year run of the show. Long after Tiger himself had quietly disappeared from the series, the doghouse remained because moving it would have revealed the damage underneath. The 1995 Brady Bunch movie included a neighbor's line that acknowledged the AstroTurf directly. Yeah, and how about that AstroTurf lawn they treat like real grass? Most audiences assumed it was a joke about the show's aesthetic. It was a wink at the actual reason that fake lawn was there in the first place. Tiger's doghouse is not a family detail. It is a production fix that became a permanent set piece for 5 straight years. And Tiger himself had an even stranger story. What happened to the original dog is one of the more unexpected production crises in television history. Number 9. Tiger bounding through Brady family life seems like the most natural kind of television detail. A cheerful, shaggy family dog who belongs exactly where he is. The reality behind that image is considerably more unusual. The original Tiger was trained by Hollywood animal handler Frank Inn, the same man responsible for Benji, Arnold the pig from Green Acres, and the cat from Breakfast at Tiffany's. During production of Season 1, Episode 5, Catchu, which aired October 24, 1969, Tiger was led outside for a bathroom break on the Paramount lot and was struck and killed by a florist's delivery truck. Barry Williams documented the incident in his 1992 memoir, Growing Up Brady. Franken's team panicked. Rather than stop production, they grabbed a look-alike mutt from a pound on the way to set. The problem: the replacement dog would not respond to direction. When cameras rolled, the animal kept bolting out of frame. The crew's solution, confirmed by Schwartz in his 1997 Television Academy Foundation interview, was to nail the substitute dog's collar to the floor of the boy's bedroom to hold it still long enough to complete the scene. In kept the original Tiger's death quiet for one reason. As Schwartz put it, he was making a good living with Tiger on the show. Tiger appeared in approximately 10 episodes total and was quietly written out in season 2, never mentioned again. And the opening credits that introduced Tiger to the world came from a source nobody expected. Number 8. That 3x3 Brady grid is one of the most imitated images in television history. It has been referenced, parodied, and recreated so many times that most people assume it was invented specifically for this show. Wrong. The technique was the multi-dynamic image technique, invented by Canadian filmmaker Christopher Chapman for his Oscar-winning 1967 short film, A Place to Stand, produced for the Ontario Pavilion at Expo 67. The system could compress up to 15 moving images into a single film frame and had already influenced Norman Jewison's use of split screen in The Thomas Crown Affair in 1968. Visual effects artist Howard Anderson adapted the technique for the Brady Bunch opening, shooting each of the 9 headshots separately and instructing every cast member to hold each directional look for 5 seconds so the footage could be composited into the grid. The Hollywood Reporter, in Christopher Chapman's 2015 obituary, referred to the technique specifically as the Brady Bunch effect. One more detail worth knowing. The Season 1 theme song was not performed by the Brady Kids. It was recorded by the Peppermint Trolley Company, a sunshine pop group from Redlands, California. Starting in Season 2, the kids took over and re-recorded the theme every single year to account for 6 children moving through puberty simultaneously. The cast that appeared in those 9 squares also released real music together outside the show, and 2 of the adults refused to be any part of it. Alright, we're at the halfway mark, and things are about to get even wilder. Before we hit the top 7, I want to hear from you. What's your favorite Brady Bunch quote or moment? Drop it in the comments. And if you're enjoying this, smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help the channel grow. Number 7. The Brady Kids performing together on the show always felt like a fun television moment, a variety segment built into a family sitcom. Those performances were not entertainment filler. They were part of a genuine recording and touring career running alongside the television series. The Brady Kids released 4 real studio albums on Paramount Records: Merry Christmas from the Brady Bunch in 1970, Meet the Brady Bunch in 1972, The Kids from the Brady Bunch in 1972, and the Brady Bunch phonographic album in 1973. These were commercial releases with genuine Paramount catalog numbers, not promotional novelties. Robert Reed and Florence Henderson refused to appear on any of the recordings. The song Time to Change, performed in Season 3, Episode 16, was specifically written to accommodate Christopher Knight's voice cracking during puberty without halting production. It's a Sunshine Day became a genuine cult hit that outlasted the series. The cast also toured live. Barry Williams documented the experience in Growing Up Brady. The group rehearsed in a rented dance studio, performed in front of real concert audiences in matching polyester fringe costumes, and managed all the logistics of a working pop act while simultaneously filming the television series. Theme composer Frank DeVol, who wrote the Brady Bunch theme, also composed the themes for My 3 Sons, Family Affair, and The Love Boat, and earned 4 Academy Award nominations across his career. Number 6. The Hawaii episodes are among the most remembered in the entire run of the Brady Bunch. The Tiki Idol, The Cave, The Curse. Vincent Price menacing the Brady boys in a torch-lit burial chamber. They feel like a creative peak, and they exist entirely because of a pursuit Schwartz had been running on a different show. Schwartz had spent years trying to book Vincent Price for Gilligan's Island, pitching him for roles including the Mad Professor and the character Wrong-Way Feldman. Price declined every time. When Gilligan's Island was canceled in 1967, Schwartz had never gotten his villain. When the Brady Bunch gave him a new platform, he tried again. This time, Price said yes. Schwartz wrote the entire Season 4 Hawaii 3-parter, Hawaii Bound, Past the Taboo, and The Tiki Caves, around Vincent Price specifically. Price played Professor Hubert Whitehead, a delusional archaeologist who kidnaps and imprisons the Brady boys in a cave set built on a Paramount soundstage. Barry Williams has noted that the Gilligan's Island Lagoon set is briefly visible in the background of the burial ground sequences. On-location filming took place in Oahu, at the Sheraton Waikiki Sea Life Park, and Ala Moana, Don Ho cameos as himself. The tarantula that crawls across Christopher Knight's chest in Past the Taboo was real. Barry Williams found the original tiki prop in a Paramount prop room around 2000 and still has it. Number 5. The Season 3 Grand Canyon episodes feel like the show at its most adventurous. The Bradys on the road, a ghost town, a Native American chief, and all 6 kids discovering something outside their suburban California life. It feels like a big family vacation. It was also a genuinely experimental piece of television. The 3-part Season 3 premiere, Ghost Town USA, Grand Canyon or Bust, and The Brady Braves, aired September 17th, September 24th, and October 1st, 1971. It was one of the first sustained multi-episode narrative arcs ever attempted in a domestic American sitcom, with the same story continuing across 3 consecutive weeks. Schwartz took the full cast and crew on location to Grand Canyon National Park, with filming running from approximately June 21st to July 1st, 1971. Jim Backus, who played Thurston Howell III on Gilligan's Island, guest starred as prospector Zachariah T. Brown. Jay Silverheels, who played Tonto in The Lone Ranger, appeared as Chief Eagle Cloud. The ghost town interiors were not built for this production. The crew reused the standing Gunsmoke exterior set on the Paramount lot. The National Park Service received a thank you credit in the closing titles. Barry Williams documented in Growing Up Brady that New York Governor Nelson Rockefeller happened to be visiting the Grand Canyon Rim during filming, and Williams photographed him. What looked like a vacation arc was a structural experiment, and behind the camera, the show's most complicated human relationship was playing out with nothing fun about it at all. Number 4. Greg Brady's teenage confidence, his occasional poor judgment, and his tendency to stumble into situations he had not fully thought through are central to the show's warmth. It turns out some of that was closer to autobiography than anyone realized. Barry Williams' 1992 memoir, Growing Up Brady, co-written with Chris Kresge, contains 2 separate revelations worth knowing. The first, at approximately 15 years old during Season 2 filming, Williams asked Florence Henderson on a date. His older brother drove because Williams did not have a license. They went to the Copacabana near Beverly Hills. Henderson, who was 36 and married with 4 children, gave him a peck on the cheek at the end of the evening. Henderson's own memoir, Life is Not a Stage, published in 2011, confirms the story from her perspective. The second, on the day Williams filmed Season 4, Episode 14, Law and Disorder, which aired January 12, 1973, he tried marijuana for the first time and was then unexpectedly called to set. Producers were furious. His screen time was reduced for the rest of the episode. Watch the opening driveway scene where Greg pumps up a bike tire. Williams stumbles over the pump and delivers the line, "Far out," with stilted timing that has nothing to do with a performance choice. Williams also documents his first kiss with Maureen McCormick during the Hawaii location shoot in 1972 on the beach under a full moon. Number 3. Marcia Brady is television's definition of the composed, popular, put-together older sister, confident in every scene. The Brady everyone in the audience wanted to be. That composure was a performance in more ways than one. McCormick's 2008 memoir, Here's the Story, documents a 5-year cocaine addiction in her early 20s, with Quaalude use and bulimia layered alongside it. She has stated in her own words that during this period, she traded sex for drugs. The memoir was accompanied by a 2008 Access Hollywood interview in which she addressed the addiction publicly. The most specific production consequence, McCormick auditioned for a role in Steven Spielberg's Raiders of the Lost Ark in 1981. After 3 sleepless nights on cocaine, she performed so badly that a producer reportedly told her she would never work again. Coverage of the audition in Fox News, Biography, and the Seattle Times all identify the film as Raiders of the Lost Ark. She also dated Michael Jackson briefly as a teenager. He was 14 and she was 15. Their time together consisted of ice skating and holding hands. She later dated Steve Martin, who had been introduced through Chevy Chase. She was too impaired to respond to his humor, and he did not call again. McCormick's recovery began in 1985, when her husband told her he would leave if she continued. She has spoken openly about the journey in interviews and in the memoir itself. Every Marcia Brady scene exists against a backdrop the audience never saw. Number 2. Mike Brady's quiet authority. his patience, his steady presence at the center of every family crisis. All of it suggests an actor deeply comfortable with the material. He was not. Robert Reed had trained at Northwestern and at London's Royal Academy of Dramatic Art. He was a working Shakespearean who taught acting at UCLA at the end of his life. He spent all 5 seasons of the Brady Bunch writing single-spaced memos to Sherwood Schwartz, identifying scientific and logical impossibilities in the scripts. Barry Williams reprinted several of those memos in Growing Up Brady. The final conflict was over The Harebrained Scheme, which aired March 8, 1974. The episode where Bobby's mail-order hair tonic turns Greg's hair orange before graduation. Reed's stated position was that hair tonic cannot do that to hair. He refused to film it. Paramount security attempted to remove him from the lot. Schwartz blocked the removal because the children who loved Reed were present on set. Reed stayed on the soundstage for the entire shoot, watching without participating. Carol Brady's only explanation was a single throwaway line. "Too bad your father was out of town and had to miss it." Per Lloyd Schwartz's account, Sherwood Schwartz had already planned to write Mike Brady out of season 6 entirely. ABC canceled the show before that could happen. The final scene ever filmed on the Brady Bunch was shot without the actor who played the father. What Reed was carrying privately during all of those years explains everything. Number 1. Mike Brady was television's idealized father. Patient, wise, always home for dinner. The steady center of a family that made chaos look manageable. He was everything the show promised. And the man who played him was keeping something hidden for the entire run of the series. Robert Reed was gay. He kept it completely concealed throughout all 5 seasons of the Brady Bunch. Florence Henderson later told ABC News directly, "I don't think the Brady Bunch could have existed at that time with the public knowing that Robert Reed was gay." In spring 1991, Reed was diagnosed HIV positive. In November 1991, he was additionally diagnosed with colon lymphoma. In the weeks before his death, he called Florence Henderson and asked her to be the one to tell the rest of the Brady cast that he was terminally ill. Henderson later described that phone call as the hardest thing she ever had to do. Reed died May 12, 1992, at age 59, at Huntington Memorial Hospital in Pasadena. HIV was listed on his death certificate as a significant condition contributing to death. Susan Olsen has said publicly that none of the Brady kids learned Reed was gay until Maureen McCormick's wedding reception, when the group realized over the course of one evening that every single one of them had quietly known for years and none of them had ever said it to each other. The cast's unanimous testimony is that Reed was the real father figure on that set. The Brady Bunch was not supposed to survive its own title, let alone 5 decades. The house had a false front. The dog was replaced and nailed to the floor. The backyard hid a burn hole under a doghouse. The opening grid came from a Canadian short film. The father was never the first choice and spent 5 years at war with the scripts. What held it together was the people inside it, who built something real out of cardboard walls, AstroTurf, and a premise nobody thought would last. If this video surprised you, drop your favorite fact in the comments. Like, subscribe, and share this with someone who loves this show as much as you do. And, as always, here's the story of a lovely lady. We'll see you next time.